Hey, everyone. Welcome to Blind Injustice with Donyalee Drinks. I'm Donyalee, and this is my drink. Oh, this? Yes, I'm 56 with a taper wall. Don't come for me. As a matter of fact, any chance I have to work her in a conversation, I probably will, so deal with it. All hail the Queen. If you're new here, which you probably are since I am, welcome. On this channel, we'll talk about true crime cases that were followed by the injustice of the wrong person being jailed and sometimes even executed. We'll cover cases of exoneration. We'll cover cases of posthumous exoneration, where the person wasn't exonerated until after they had already been wrongfully executed. And we'll also talk about some current cases that the Innocence Project is working on, and I will give you a link below on how you can help. Today will be a two-part video, since I'm oh so new at this YouTube thing. Part one will be a little bit about me, why I started this channel, and some oh so disturbing statistics about true crime. Part two will be our very first case, one that has been in the news a lot lately. So, grab whatever you're drinking, and let's get started. My name is Donya, and I'm a registered nurse, as well as a legal nurse consultant. So this gives me a foot in both the legal and the medical worlds, which I love. If you're not familiar with the Innocence Project, it actually just started out as a small legal clinic developed in a law school by the very famous lawyers Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield. As the power of DNA was coming to the forefront, they realized that they could use this science to help exonerate people who had been wrongly convicted. Soon a small group of lawyers, students, and volunteers took on the work to help free wrongfully convicted people through DNA. That same year, they exonerated their first client. They are now an independent nonprofit firm with over 2,000 employees. And at any given time, they are working between 6,000 and 8,000 cases. They fight every day to free the wrongfully convicted. Why is this important? Because our justice system is so broken and needs to change. So here are a few not so fun facts about the United States judicial system. Hold on to your seats. Did you know that DNA testing costs about $8,500 per test? I don't know many convicts with $8,500 just laying around. 375 people to date have been exonerated because of the Innocence Project, but there are so many more to go. Like I said, at any given time, the Innocence Project is working between 6,000 and 8,000 cases. So let's just say 50% of those cases have merit. That means at any given time in our country, 4,000 people are sitting in prison for a crime they didn't commit. Many of them are on death row. The average time that exonerees spend in prison before they are exonerated is 14 years. Today's case, in part two, he was there for 39 years. 39 years. He was 29 when the crime was committed, and he was 69 years old when he was released from jail. Let this one sink in. The total number of years so far that exonerees have spent in prison is 5,284 years. 21 of the 375 that they exonerated were on death row. So we know that there are many that have been executed that went to their grave innocent. I think that's tragic. 44 of them pled guilty to a crime they didn't commit. Now, I know we all think that there is no way in hell we would ever confess to a crime we did not commit. If you believe that about yourself, I highly suggest that you go online and look at some police interrogation tapes. That's another thing that needs to change, the rules for interrogation. Just go take a look. 69% of cases, including the one that we're going to talk about in part two, involved eyewitness misidentification. Witness misidentification happens a lot. You see someone for a split second and you want to tell me that you remember exactly what they looked like and who they were. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast today and what that looked like. So I think if you're seeing someone running away from a crime scene in the middle of the night, It's a little suspicious. 43% of the 375 that were exonerated involved the misapplication of forensic science. So DNA is exact. Forensic science is not exact. So when you have contaminated crime scenes or hyper-focus on one suspect that police sometimes do, planted evidence, let's use, even though in my opinion he was guilty, let's use the OJ case as an example. The glove. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Are you freaking kidding me right now? That is definitely a misapplication of forensic science. So sometimes people get DNA and forensic science mixed up. DNA is a part of forensic science, but not all forensic science is DNA. Got it? So here's something that's pretty cool. Out of the 375 that they investigated, they were actually able to identify the real culprit in about 165 of those cases, including the one that we'll talk about in part 2. That's about 50% or so. It would be great if that got a little higher. As our database grows, I believe that we'll be able to identify more of the true guilty parties. Here's what's sad, though. Out of the 165 perpetrators that were identified, they had gone on to commit 154 more violent crimes. 154 additional crimes that did not have to take place. The innocent party sat in jail. That is tragic. That's also the case in what we'll be talking about in part 2. That happened as well. He went on to commit several more very violent crimes. It's sad. Well, it's beyond sad. It's tragic. 69% of the 375 that were convicted were people of color. Tell this to your friends who don't believe white privilege is a thing. These are just a few reasons why the justice system needs to change and why the work that the Innocence Project does is so important. So remember next year when you're looking for that big tax break when you're filing your taxes, that a DNA test costs $8,600, and make a donation to the Innocence Project that you can write off later. I'll leave a link in the comments below to their page and where you can make a donation. Let's talk about something else. Here's what you need to know, since this is a new channel for me. I'm not doing this to be an influencer. I'm not doing this to monetize. I'm doing this to bring awareness to the Innocence Project and the work that they do. Guess what that means? I don't have to suck up to my viewers. So, bullying of any kind on this channel will not be tolerated. Be kind. I don't want to see any slanderous comments about the victims of the crime, the exonerees. It won't be tolerated. I'll delete the comments, and if you continue, you'll be blocked. It's that simple. We're all adults. It's not that hard to be kind to one another. I do welcome open and honest conversation and discussion about these cases because they're really interesting. But anything else will be deleted. And if you continue to be a doucher, you'll be blocked. And with that admonishment, part 1 has come to an end. I hope you came away from this video with something that you didn't already know and some food for thought. In part 2, we will be talking about Maurice Hastings, a man who spent 39 years in prison with 0 physical or forensic evidence. 0. Innocent until proven guilty? I don't think so. Until next time, be kind to each other and stay in your lane. Bye-bye.